And ads.
That's right. TurboTax Free Edition.
That's
Free.
wonderful.
Free, 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 free.
Okay. Think I'm live? Is YouTube working? I haven't had any issues with this yet, but other people have told me how it's wonky. I think we're okay. I think we're good to get started. Okay. Alright, so we're working on executes and counters. Let's get this up and running in case I have any comments. Alright, cool. Alright, so those are false. Oh, what did I do wrong? Ah. Alright, so for the counter, we kind of already have what needs to happen for the counter. I'd like to add a thing, though, where the execute and the counters that pop up actually, like, change colors. So I think I want to store a color for each of these. You know what? There's a better way to do this. I could have a single pop-up that I just change the text of. Yeah, that's the better way to do that. So I'll call this pop-up now. I think this is the best way to handle it because I'm just thinking about it now like, oh, there could be a lot of different things that this could be. You know, it could say things like go to the left or go to the right, you know. It's not necessarily always going to be execute now or counter. Alright, we'll call this pop up now. And then we don't need to execute one anymore. Cool, cool, cool. I think I want to rename these. Pop up now 1. Pop up now 2. Okay. They'll just change the text of those to whatever we want to tell the player. So now there's going to be some more information associated with the pop-up. So we want a string for pop-up text. We want a color to track the current color. We probably want some float that tracks like the current fade. So we'll do float, pop-up fade. And then I probably should track whether or not it's going up or down. Okay, so we got all these wonderful variables. Now we got to put them to use. And let me just store them real quick. So the reason I'm playing this music and not what I normally play is my last video actually got unpublicked. It's not like a strike or something, but basically it wasn't viewable anymore because I played copyright music. And YouTube's weird about that because I've seen people use copyright music. Maybe I have to like credit them properly, I don't know, but by playing this music it doesn't get associated with copyright music for whatever reason. So I definitely want people to be able to see the videos. So if I have to, I'll go with no music, but I feel like most people watch this while they're doing something else. So that's a real shame if they can't have some music playing. Alright. So we'll start out with nothing. Actually, instead of setting it to active or not active, I'll just set the text to blank, and then I don't have to keep worrying about whether it's active or not. So that's easy. 0. Alright, so all that's done. Now we need some functions. I'd like to be able to turn on the pop-up, so we'll call it, I don't know, start pop-up. And we'll give it the color that we want it to have. We'll give it the text that we want it to show. And maybe some some timer for life. So float life. And that actually means we need another variable. How's it going, everybody? Happy Sunday. Float pop-up life. I'm going to do all this again when I do like numbers popping up on the screen if I do that. You know, like you slash somebody and you get like a 1 or whatever the damage number is pops up. I'm thinking about having that. I've also thought about going back and making everything black and white. I mean, the original Scarlet the Zombie Slayer was black and white. So I'm kind of thinking about it. Poop. Poop up is equal to live. Gotta be careful how I type that. We'll set the fade direction so it's always the same at the start. Let me rename this. That's more clear. It's fading in. And anything else I have to do? Oh yeah, the life. Pop up life is equal to life. Okay. Now we have to have like a update pop up. If pop up life is greater than 0, this equals 0.02. I'm going to call this every time the physics engine runs, which is a fixed update of 0.02. So that's why I know it's going to be that instead of like delta time or something. This is just simpler. Alright. So what's going to happen as it goes up and down, and then if it reaches 0, boop, up text. Nothing. I keep writing poop up. Pop up color is equal to. Oh wait, do I need the base color? Oh shoot, I think I need to save the base color. Oh no, I'm thinking of this wrong. I'm an idiot. Where's the pop-up game object? Is it called pop-up now? Alright, that's the game object, okay. I'm gonna rename this the game object. That'll be easier for me. Dot oh shoot, no, there's like an array of game objects actually. There's 3 of them. So game object pop up pop-up text objects. I mean, this is so simple, I could just make it like 3 lines that I'll never have to use again, but whatever. We'll do it this way. What's the matter with this? Alright. Doing good. So those are the 3 pop-ups. That's fine. Now we have to go back to our code up here. It's not... there's probably a better way to do this. If pop-up text objects 0 dot get component text dot text does not equal blank, then I'll reset all 3 of them. Cool. Just in case. Alright, so that's the 3 pop-up text objects going blank. Now I have to do starting them up. And then we'll do what happens as they get their colors and fading, changing. Peep up. That's what I want. Okay, great. Now we'll just repeat that up here, and we'll change the fade based on which direction it's going. So if pop-up fade amount, or pop-up fading in is equal to true, wait, what am I doing? Ah! Alright, so fading in, we'll say, I wrote pop-up life twice. Why did I do that? Say pop-up fade amount plus equals 0.02f if pop-up fade amount square and equal to 1, and the fading direction is equal to false, so it goes back down. Just reverse this and we'll be good to go. Okay, now it's just constantly fade in and out. Now we just call this. I did handle what happens when it dies, right? Yeah, okay, I did. So we'll just call this from the right place. The fixed update is every 0.02 seconds, so that'll take care of that. Now when do we call the pop-up? Oh, I need a cancel pop-up option too. Yeah, I was just thinking about it. It doesn't need a life timer. It just needs an active thing. Yeah, I don't want this. Instead of a bool, I want a. I mean, instead of a float, I want a bool for active. No, I can just track it with the pop-up text going off. Yeah, that's probably better. So we'll get rid of this whole pop-up life thing. Any more errors? And we'll say does not equal blank. And then we'll just have a thing for turning off the pop-up. So we'll do a void stop. I just realized that it's never going to be a case, the case where I want it to go for like 100 or for a second or something, or 3 seconds. No, it's always going to be on or off based on certain events. Alright, so now we'll do turning on the pop-up for when you get grabbed. And then we'll see what it looks like. So grabbed equals true. I think it's only in one place. We're going to say start pop-up color dot red counter now. We don't need the life anymore, so we're going to take that out. So that's the start pop-up, and now we need where grabbed is equal to false. Stop pop-up. Cool. So I think that's okay. Let's see what it looks like now. I think I turned it off at the start. Whoop, what's wrong? I don't want it to be inactive. Did I do that? Okay. Alright, let's see if it says counter now. Perfect. That's awesome. Now, the only thing is, I think it's happening too quickly. It needs to happen, let's see. It needs to happen after the first point of damage, because you're not able to counter until then. So, we're going to change the start counter point and the end point, actually. So, we'll take this out. Let's do it after the damage. I think it's called damage done or something. If grabbed is equal to true and grabber did damage is equal to false. I only want this to happen once. Start the counter. Okay, and now for the stop pop-up, I want it to happen as soon as you've entered the key to like counter. I don't want it to keep, otherwise people like spam the button, you know? Okay. Now it should happen as soon as I push the button, and then stop and let the animation play. Alright, so when does this happen? Counter now. Okay. Hit it, and it immediately stopped. So I'll let it go for a little bit. So counter now. Hit it. It stops. Perfect. Beautiful. It's working beautifully. Okay. So now I want to work on the execute option. And this is a little more difficult to do. Let me go up towards the top. Let's see. I don't want you to be at the campfire. This is not campfire here. this down. Grabbed is false. I definitely want that, so let me take this down. Okay, so we'll do it in here. And what I want to do is if the player's not being grabbed and they're not jumping. So is there a if jumping clause in here? Oh, here we go. If jumping is true. There's no else here, so I'm going to add an else. Alright, so right in here, we're not jumping. We still have control of our character. If... And let me just do the pseudocode. So, if the player is close to a zombie who is knocked down, show execute now. Turn off as soon as player is no longer near a zombie. Okay, so now let's do the if close to a zombie. And I just want to see, I think I used hitboxes. I don't want to do that. I don't want to use hitboxes. We'll just say a distance. So let me see, what was the distance for the enemy to grab you? Probably want to double that. 0.4. So we'll just double that. Where's updates? Yeah, we'll loop through all the enemies. You know what? This is a bad way to do this. I don't want to loop through the enemies twice. I'm already looping through them once anyway. I'll do it differently. It's alive. What's up? Instead of doing it in here, I'm going to do it in the zombie AI. Hey, dude. Let me show you what I got so far. Got my Scarlet jumping over zombies. She can whack zombies and kick them, knock them down. You can run past them. And then when you swipe at them, they have a chance to randomly get knocked down, but it doesn't mean they're dead. I think this guy actually is just going to die. But let's see if this guy gets knocked down randomly. So he might be dead. Nope, he's not. He gets back up. And they lie down for a random amount of time. So, oh, he gets back up. And you can kick him down, which doesn't do any damage, but it just knocks him down. And then what else do I have? Oh, let me make the screen bigger for you. I've got grappling. So, like, the zombie can grab you, and it says counter now. And so I'll hit the counter button, and it plays one of two different animations. So there's the two animations for the counters. How cool is that? You like that? Thanks, man. So right now I'm working on executes, where the zombie's knocked on the ground, and you can execute them so that you don't have to wait for them to, like, get back up. So I should have a case. Oh yeah, case knocked down. So what I'm gonna do is add a like a variable to track which zombie is saying that you can execute them right now. Thanks, Red. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm trying something a little different. Instead of like showing every line of code that I write, I'm spending more time off-screen coding. and then like showing off what's going on as people come in. Whereas before I was like, I was just spending so much time like talking instead of coding, and I don't mind, like that's what this is for. Like I don't mind talking instead of coding, but I was doing it like way too much before last. Like when I made Rogue Party 2, it took like 6 months and like 1,000 hours. I don't want to do that again. But I still want to talk to everyone, you know? So I'm like trying to find a happy medium. What do you want to see in Scarlet the Zombie Slayer? Alright, so if player is close to a zombie who's knocked down. Let's do this. So if... we'll do double the distance for grab. And then I want to have some variables that I'm tracking. So maybe just a single integer actually. So can execute is equal to the enemy's index. So we track which one it is. I'll make it a -1 when nobody can be executed. Be super dope to see an arc weapon, grenade for a small crowd, or a Molotov or something. Ooh, I hadn't thought of an arcing weapon. That's clever. I was thinking that... See, I'm trying to, like, think through somebody with one arm. Like, what ranged weapons make sense for them? And in the original game, she would tuck her sword away and then, like, pull out a little axe and throw it at people. I was thinking maybe a knife would be more practical, or make it so she can pick up guns, but she can't reload them. So it's just like you pick up a gun and you get like 5 shots and you can fire them, and then you drop the weapon and you pull your sword back out. I also have been playing with the idea of giving the sword like magical properties, like being able to shoot a beam of light or something, kind of like a Zelda sword. Like going kind of extreme with it. And then she never has to drop the sword, but the sword can become the ranged weapon. I think an arcing attack would be really interesting, though. In the original game, she would throw an axe, and it would arc. Like, it would go up in the air and fall down as it went. So I don't know, maybe if that would work. But the idea of, like, throwing a grenade is actually hilarious to me. I really want to do that now. I'm going to add it to my list. My things to try. Grenades? Question mark? I've got a little list going, so keep them coming. So, can execute. Let's see. When do I want the can execute to go away? Let's see. Oh, I shouldn't set it if it's already set. So that's something I can change. So if can execute is equal to a -1. Can execute is equal to I. And then how do I track if she walked away that I don't want to do this anymore? If can execute does not equal I, -1. So it's not blank. This is for setting it. So if it's not blank and she's close enough, set it to I. And then I want a different if statement for if it is equal to I. And this is greater than is equal to -1. And again, I think I want to just put this on the outside because it applies to both. So this is if can execute is blank. I think I need to write this out in pseudocode because right now I know it's wrong. I already know it's wrong. So let me just do this. If can execute is blank, um, if enemy is close enough, set execute to enemy index. Single-use guns is a cool idea. Zelda's sword is gold. You mean like it's what you'd prefer? I played with making her weapons shine. Let me show you this. I've got a couple of like things I tried. I got to get down to, was it the spine, I think? Spine, and then like right arm. Where is it? I actually attached the effects to the model just to try them. Oh my god, it's so far down. But so I could do like a blue sword glow. Let's see what that looks like. So check that out, blue sword glow. Isn't that neat? I was just like messing with it. And then we could try white sparkle. I was trying to do like a trail effect on the weapon. But so now you can like see like these little particles following the sword as it swings. I was just like trying out different things. But I was thinking like that would be a cool effect for like sharpening the weapon or something to like make it more powerful. And maybe not 3 sets of sparkles, but like 1 at a time. Knock you down. So yeah, that's another effect. Just like messing around. I like the blue glow though. I think that's really cool. But it's getting like into fantasy instead of the genre. Scarlet the Jedi. Scarlet the Jedi. Yeah, she just like takes on whatever I need her to be. Whatever the plot requires, she just becomes. Definitely entering Mary Sue territory. Alright, so if you can execute, because it's blank, if the enemy is close enough, set it. Alright, so that's one case. The next case is can execute is equal to enemy index. Then we check to see if she walks away from the enemy. If enemy is far away, reset to a -1. Okay. Captain Gunch, what's up, sir? I'm doing executions. I don't know if that's kid friendly. Just FYI. And I'm doing let me see, I'll show you what I got. But yeah, not kid friendly. FYI. Just letting you know. And then the number of viewers went down by 1. Oh, that's really funny. That's hilarious. He's got a couple kids that watch. That's so funny. I'm losing half my audience. Oh my gosh. That's so funny. Here, I'll show something kid friendly. Here, I'll show something kid friendly. We got a blue glow on the sword just for like playing around to see what it would. So check that out, blue glow. Isn't that cool? You're 21 now. Holy crap! It is kind of crazy. All right, now I'm gonna do some kid unfriendly stuff and work on executions. It's crazy to think I first played Fright Light back in 2014. So you're 21 now. So you were like 14 then. Wow. Yeah, I feel like most of my audience are people that like they kind of had an Xbox as their primary means of entertainment for a while, and they were on the younger side. So they would like they'd buy the $1 games, you know, like just to make their money go a little further to get more games for the buck. Versus buying like $60 games, you know. Whereas like the older crowd, people who are like 30 to 40, they buy $60 games like it's nothing because they have way more disposable income. But like when you're a teenager, I think the dollar games make more sense. Plus the games I made definitely appealed to a younger audience. So it's just interesting like to look back now and see who has followed. A lot of the people that I played the games with ended up following me. So that actually worked out really nicely. Alright, so let's take care of these two situations. And that's really all I have to do. Maybe I have to worry about the player being dead. Maybe I have to care about the player being dead. I don't think so. I also think I need to do this outside of the zombie. I don't want it to be necessarily inside the zombie code because other enemies are going to have to be able to do this. So let me just take this out here. And we'll go active enemy equals true. Oh, I guess I could just change the name of the decision the way I did this. Okay. I'm still like, this is very rough right now, so let me just handle these. So if can execute is equal to -1 and can execute does not equal I. So we're gonna, I'm sorry, I did that wrong. If it's equal to a -1, then we do this check. If you're close enough, then execute equals I. Sometimes it's better to write the if statements out separately. It's easier to read sometimes. Now, if the can execute is set to the current enemy, then we have to check to see if she runs away. So if vector distance is greater than or equal to 0.8, can execute is equal to a -1. So that handles the two situations while the enemy is knocked down to determine whether or not you can knock down, or you can show this. I guess we might as well do start pop up. Do color dot yellow, and we'll do execute now, so it'll start flashing. You discovered yourself a while back, bought the collection to relive some childhood. Oh, that's cool. Thank you for buying it. I really appreciate it. Yeah, how long ago did you rediscover? Did you see Rogue Party 2? That's like my crowning achievement right now on Steam, is Rogue Party 2. It depends on which games you liked, because if you were playing like Frightlight and stuff, that wasn't like Rogue Party. I made so many different genres of games, like it kind of depends on what's your cup of tea. Okay, so now that'll happen, and we'll do stop pop-up if you walk away. And do I need to do anything else? Let's see what that looks like. And then we'll do the actual animation for executing. We have a blue glow for some reason. So I'll knock him down. It says execute now. So it does kind of work. And it went away when he wasn't executable. I think he needs to lie down on the ground a little longer. I don't like how fast he gets up. Where do I make 50% chance? Let's do a 20% chance. Let's make it a little better. Oh, you had the original! Holy crap! Wow! The original. Did you remember the original Knight model? How ridiculous that was? Alright, so I knock him down. It says execute now, so you have enough time to push it. I think I want to guarantee that he's down for like 2 seconds or something. I think I don't like that. Yeah, I don't like that he gets up right away. Anyway, let's work on getting the execute to work, and then we'll fix all the world's problems. So if he gets back up, I want can execute to go to 0 again. Or he does it here if she gets far enough away. But I need it to change. Let's do this. Copy this. When he gets back up, I need to turn it off. So clip name is equal to zombie weight, blah blah blah. I want to do it right here. Turn that off. Okay, so if he's in the process of getting back up, we turn off the execute option. And now I want to keep track of this guy right here. And you can get knocked down. Get bull knocked down. Is equal to true. Okay. So if no one else is being executed and you are knocked down, then I want to give you the option to execute them. I could add this code down here actually. I think I'm going to do that. Keep it clean. So we'll say if currently knockdown is false, then that's a guarantee that you need to turn this off. False. Okay, I think that's good. So if you get far enough away or he starts to get back up, then you're no longer executing him. Okay, I think we're good. The original night model was freaking hilarious. Uh-oh, what happened? Wait, let me undo some stuff. What did I do? Think I fixed it? Oh, you became a dev? Oh, dude, what games have you made? Yeah, honestly, I've thought it, like, I've said this so many times on stream, but I've thought about, like, creating a dev workshop to, like, get people going. Wow, he's staying on the ground for so long. Maybe 20% chance is way too low. Oh, there he goes. He gets back up. Get on the ground. So it says execute now. So I think I like that. And then it turned off. That was good. Now they just get up no problem. Like before they were sitting on the ground for so long. I love the them getting up. That animation is cracking me up. Cool. First-person shooter called Titan's Divide. Ooh. I worked on a canceled point, or I think you mean click and point, click adventure called Lightless. Lately, I've been working on a fixed camera horror. Wow, so you're like me, dude. You just bounce around like whatever you want to work on. That's a good way to do it, I think. Like, until you are super into the game that you're making. Alright, we're going to get this animation now where she stabs him in the head. So, I'm pretty happy with this. I probably need to handle some scenarios where I turn off the execute option, like if you go through a doorway or if you get killed. Like I'm definitely not handling every situation where I need to turn it off. Same with the counter, like if you get killed, but we're just gonna move on for now. And I'm gonna make a note that I need to do that. On death, turn off pop-up text and can execute integer. Yeah, they just like float up like they're puppets on strings. All right, so now I kind of want to do the same thing I did with grappling, where I temporarily replace the player object. Let's see. I had the grapple object. Oh man, it's like the same. It's the same problem in that I have to like track all these game objects at once, and then also have a replacement game object for when they're destroyed. I didn't realize it was so complicated to make these these little moments. Like I was playing Skyrim and they do like the execute animation, and I was watching. I was like, oh, it's pretty neat. I like how that's kind of like the way I did Scarlet. And then I noticed that like your player character would sometimes like teleport back to a location that they used to be at, and I was like, huh, I bet they're replacing the game objects. So it's exactly how I do it, but it's just funny to see like a major studio do it that way. So like basically what they're doing, if you're not following, like you've got two objects. You got your player and you got your zombie. And what they do is they actually hide these two and make them not visible and replace them with a single object that represents the two of them like grappling and fighting or doing like an execute or something. And then after these two are finished, they get removed, and these guys come back on, and this guy will get teleported to wherever he died, so he'll just be like on the ground, and you'll get teleported to wherever you should be. So that's how they do like executions and stuff. And I was just laughing because I'm like, I'm doing the same thing. I have the exact same problem to deal with. It was just funny. Like, see how like a AAA title handles it. And the way they handle it, they're very clever. You know why they do execute cameras? Because when they do the execute cam, they change the angle that you're looking at the objects for a split second. And in that split second, they can teleport all the models to the right positions without you noticing. And that's why they do the execution cameras. It's not because they look cool, it's because they have a functional purpose. And because they look cool. It buys them time, even though it's just a split second, to reposition all the game objects so that you don't notice that your character moved to like 5 feet. And the enemy moved 2 feet closer to get into range to make the execution happen. Like, it's very clever. And then they have a camera at the end when you reset to your normal position so that you, again, don't catch objects getting moved in and out of place. Very, very clever. It took me a little bit to figure out that that's what was happening. But once I realized it, it all just clicked for me. And I was like, I'm doing the exact same thing. This is hilarious. Do I need a bool executing? I guess I can do that. I don't need this grabber to damage. I already have a execution integer, so we're gonna do this can execute guy. We don't need that. We'll just keep using him. We're gonna have a game object called execution game object. Grapple gore. We do need this. We're probably gonna have some gore that we show during the execution. And then we need a set of models for the enemies that are left after a bloody mess. So enemy execution models. Why didn't I think of that? Well, because you're just in the moment. It happens very quickly. And you just think to yourself, oh, they modeled the enemies, you know, getting hit perfectly by the player's attacks. They didn't do that. They actually modeled them together in the same game model. Just like this. The way I have both models in a single... This is a single game object. It's not the player. It's not the enemy. It's something different. And what I do is I swap the player out and I swap the enemy out with this single model. And then when it's done, I put the player and the enemy back into their positions. By changing the camera angle, you're oblivious to the fact that that happened. Because if you were able to watch it, and I'm actually thinking about adding an execution camera and a grapple camera so that you don't notice that objects are moving around. Because if I were to just, even if I were to just zoom in a little bit, it would change your perspective enough that you wouldn't realize things had moved around. It's actually kind of like magic. It's actually really interesting the way they do it. So like with the grapple, all I have to do is zoom in a little bit and you'd never notice that the objects moved a little bit to either side so that they would line up perfectly. Alright, let's see. I'm going to copy all this wonderful stuff. I'm taking a real risk here, just coding something I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to do. Just straight up going to go for it. Alright, so let's see. When can the execute button can be pushed when can execute is not a -1. So that's what we'll start with. Billboard cities! Dude, I'm talking to somebody who knows his Antoni games. The billboard cities. Oh my god. Had like Santa's sleigh in the background and stuff. Oh my gosh. You know, a game that might actually do really well on Steam if I were to properly redo it, not just copy the graphics, but the Contra-like game that I made, the Nightmare game, I think that would do really well on Steam. If I were to like just redo the graphics so that it's not a straight up parody of Contra, I think it would do really well. I just think that there's a market out there for side-scrolling shooters that most people don't tap into because it's so easy to make games in 3D. Like, it's funny how far we've come, but 2D is more challenging than 3D. Like, that's really amazing when you think about it. In some respects. Some respects not, right? If you were to, you know, do the full graphical application of 3D where you're doing like 4 different meshes on every, what's it called? 3D rendering, like the depth and the shadowing and all that stuff. Like, you can have like 4 or 5 different textures on a single texture. That gets pretty complicated, but like for the stuff like I'm doing, it's actually harder to make a 2D game. It's more work to when you can just take a 3D model and move it around versus having to draw 700, you know, images to represent the same animations. It's pretty incredible. Billboard cities. Still laughing at that. All right, let's get off of this screen. So, let's see. I did a grapple. Or it's grabbed. Is equal to false. Alright, so I definitely want to do it in here, because I don't want the player grabbed. Well, that's another thing. If grabbed is true, execute now cannot show up. Crap, that execute now thing is actually way more complicated than I thought it was. I think I'm going to do this differently. Like, before I add a whole nother thing into the game with showing the actual execution, I think I need to more intelligently determine that something can be executed. Otherwise, I have to add all the logic in here. I mean, I guess I can. I could do it right here. If grabbed is equal to true. And I'm going to make this a else if statement down here. No, I don't want to do that because otherwise it'll flip back and forth between executing and not executing. It's complicated. Calling the health variable to be beneath a certain value. Oh, so the way that execute will work is the enemy will be in a state where they can be executed, and it's not related to their health. So, like, as I add more enemies, it could be that you, like, damage them a certain amount, and then they go into, like, a paused state where they're, like, kneeling down or vulnerable but not fighting back. It'll be a state where you can walk past them. And so you have the option of running past them and taking advantage of the fact that they're no longer blocking you, or taking the moment to execute them. But that could mean that enemies nearby get a chance to catch up to you. So you have to, like, weigh your options, basically. But 9 times out of 10, executing is worth it. And when you're executing, you can't get grabbed. But as soon as you come out of the execute, I'm going to give you, like, a small period of invulnerability. And I actually need that for when you get grabbed, too. Invulnerability when grabbed or executing. That's what the old game had. Or if you were, like, knocked down and you had to get back up, you'd be invulnerable for, like, 2 seconds to give you time to, like, jump away from other enemies that might have unfairly walked on top of you. So one way I could do this is I could, at the very end, say an enemy says that you can execute them, but should you really be able to execute them? And I could do it at the end of this whole process. So I think what I'm going to do... if it's equal to a -1... I'll leave it like this for now, but I don't like it. Off stream, I'm gonna definitely fix it. Because I think it needs to be a little more complicated than what I have here. But should I do the invulnerability now? Maybe I should do that. I need to make you invulnerable. So a couple ways to do that. You can make the player model, like, blink. I can make it not visible. So that's an option. What if I do that? What happens? So the character controller can still move around even if I make her invisible. So that's something I'm gonna have to do. That's cool. I mean, we got the pop-ups working. That's what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to stream. I'm gonna keep it short. I'm gonna work on some other stuff. But it was cool seeing you, Red. Thank you for chilling. Thank you for coming out. We hit a solid hour of streaming. That's good for right now. I'm thankful for everyone that watched or is going to watch. And I'll catch you guys on the next stream. Good luck and have fun.